folks. I guess decided to do another video here. Recently, my perspective on marriage has changed. I can give you a little backstory on where it started and how it's been punctuated throughout my life. As a kid, growing up in a Catholic school and within the Catholic religion, you kind of get told, I remember specifically getting told, that I basically had three options when I became an adult. Single, married, or married to the church, service, become a nun or so forth, sister, whatever. Those are my three options. I specifically remember learning that as a young kid. And learning that, marriage is this very serious ordeal as a Catholic church and most religions make it out to be. So, as a young kid, I was conditioned into seeing marriage as a very serious ordeal, and that it was one of my options. I either had to be married, or I had to be single, or I had to marry the church. So, those are my three options. And as a kid, I took it as this very serious thing. Then as I got older and started dating and realizing that people that I've dated, when we had gone from friendship to boyfriend and girlfriend, things seemed to drastically change in who they were as a person. I don't believe I changed much, but maybe I did. I'm not sure. I can only see myself through my own eyes. But they changed drastically when they got this title of boyfriend. And when that started happening and it became sort of this pattern in my life, that if I befriended someone, then, got to know them, started liking them, started dating, they changed into this completely other person where they bought into this story of, well, now that I'm your boyfriend, we have to talk every day. We have to see each other as often as possible. We have to do X, Y, and Z. It became this obligation. It became this story. And they completely flipped the switch from the person that I was getting to know, the person that I started liking. And once that started happening, and it happened more than once, my perception of marriage changed to, this means that a title and a story will make this individual become a totally different person, and this story will build up, and there'll become all these obligations and all these expectations, and at that point in my life, I really did not want to get married. I felt that if this is how they act when it's simply a boyfriend-girlfriend title, I can only imagine the big difference that would happen if it was husband and wife. And this is, again, my experience. And a lot of people, I hear people say that, yes, the whole husband and wife marriage does change people. And is that a fear of mine? Not essentially really a fear of mine, because I don't think that's the case for everyone. But there are people out there like, well, you expect this now, or you're supposed to do this now, and blah, 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 blah. So there's people that, bind to this story of, because we're married, X, X, Y, Y, Z, Z must happen, or must be the case, and so forth and so on. And at that point, so it went from, as a kid, my perspective, went from as a kid there's a couple of deer. Ooh. I know I'm completely changing the subject here, but like they're staring at me. They're kind of far away, but like they're there. I would love to pet a deer, but I feel like it would be dangerous. I feel like they'd run away anyway, but they're like standing right there. I'm sorry. Complete distraction, but I love nature. Anyway, so my perspective of marriage as a kid went from very serious ordeal to the not so serious, don't want anything to do with it because it completely changes the person, and I don't want to deal with that. And, you know, I went into this whole phase of like, I'm never getting married. So I had that going on. But I always felt, something that I did always feel deep down is that I always felt that I would find someone that I'd want to spend my life with, or that I would like, you know, like a best friend. Like I always felt that I would get to know somebody, or that I would come across someone in my life that would be with me my entire life, outside of family, outside of the friends that I do to make, you know, outside of that there would be that person. And for me, it was never a matter of like I had to get married to them or I needed to get married to them. Oh, the deer, they ran away. The one's staring at me still. But it wasn't a matter of me having to get married to them or wanting to get married to them. It was just, I always felt like I would find someone that would be that person, and I'd be that person for them. So now, present, I've been in a relationship for about 3 years, and to me, in my perspective, we are married. We aren't legally married, and you may be saying to yourself, like I used to perceive, that, oh, well, you're not married until you're married. And I get it, because I did perceive it that way. I used to think that it was completely fine if you lived with someone, if you had kids with somebody. Like, I wasn't super judgmental on that. I wasn't over here like, oh my God, how could you totally have kids and live with somebody? It's such a sin. No. That perspective I've never really had on anyone. I don't judge you for moving in with anybody or having kids with anybody. No, that I don't have. Though I did used to have the perspective that when people would claim and say they were married when they weren't legally married, it used to like rub me the wrong way, because I'd just be like you're not even married though. And that was the judgmental part of me. I'm being completely honest here. That was the judgmental part of me, being like, you're not even married though. Like, stop claiming that's your wife. Stop claiming that's your husband. They're not even wanting to marry you. That's why you're not married. That was me. Being honest here. That's what we do here, remember? Honesty. Open those doors, you know? So that was me. I used to have that perspective or that judgment that if you're living with somebody, or say you have a family with someone, and you claimed to be married, or you felt as if you were a married couple, yet you actually really weren't married, I used to have the judgment like come on. If you wanted to be, or if you felt like you were, you'd just be married. But that's not my perspective anymore. My perspective is, well, for one, everyone has their own relationship. Every single relationship is different. Not one relationship is the same. Not one. So why we try to make it a certain way or fit ourselves into some sort of conformed box is beyond me. But not one relationship is the same. Every single relationship in this world is different. That's one. And for two, how my perspective changed is that marriage, again, is really just a piece of paper that people put together to claim that what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine, and benefits and blah blah and all this stuff. But it doesn't make, to me, it doesn't make the relationship any more different. Because I believe that you can feel married, you can see this individual as your husband, as your wife, before actually signing any papers or putting going to any ceremony, or having any sort of wedding reception or anything like that. You can feel like a married couple, mostly because that's love. Love to me is knowing this one person in and out to the best of your ability, and you continue to learn about this person because we all grow. So as you grow, they learn something new. As they grow, you learn something new. So it's not about, oh, I know everything. No, you're gonna keep learning with this person if you want to keep learning. So you keep learning with this person, and you choose to keep learning with this person, but there's just this like chemical connection. That's that love. And that's, to me, is what makes a true marriage. Because before the law got involved, before the government got involved, people were committed to each other, right? In some way, shape, or form, they formed these relationships. Look at nature. Penguins mate for life. They don't involve anything. But are you going to say that penguin is not married to the other penguin because they didn't get the law involved? No. So I can understand and I can see now that my previous judgment of people claiming that this is my husband, this is my wife, when they're not legally married, was really just an immature perspective for myself. And because of this relationship that I'm in, because of the love that we have, I get it. Because honestly, even though we're not there yet, that is how I see him. I see him as my husband, even though we're not married. And he has said that he sees me as his wife. Same thing. We haven't gotten the law involved. We haven't signed over papers. We haven't had a ceremony yet. But that's how I view our relationship. That's how we choose to view our relationship. Because again, our relationships are different. Our relationships are unique. Our relationships are beautiful the way that they are. They should not fit one box. They will never fit one box because we are all different people. Every single one of us are different. So my complete view has changed. That we don't, even though we do plan to get married, we do plan to get the government involved, we don't have to in order to claim that is my husband and that I'm his wife. We don't have to. Because my perspective has changed on that. So if anyone were to say that now, that my judgment, my critical self has enhanced and grown a little, now, if anyone were to claim those things, I'd understand where they're coming from because of my experience, because of what I feel. I get it. It's not some silly, like when you're a kid playing house. Because that's kind of how I viewed it, honestly. It's like, oh, we're just claiming husband and wife now. And, we're playing house. No, it's like real life. And you don't have to have these things set up. You don't have to have these ceremonies. You don't have to have these rings. You don't have to have whatever the government and society and the law involved in order to say or to claim someone to be something to you or to mean something to you. You don't have to have all of these things in order to do that. And that's what I've realized. That's what I've changed. That's what I've grown to see. And I'm proud of myself, growing from my ignorant judgments. But that's what makes life fun, right? Learning something new. Learning that your previous judgments are kind of critical, kind of ignorant, kind of, not nice. And although I wouldn't say it out loud, but I've said it to all of you, it was something that, I said in my mind when I judged people, which wasn't really nice. But I've grown. And I'm proud of that. And I've grown because I can see things now based on my experience, which, that's what it takes for a lot of people. A lot of people, in order for them to change their perspective or their view on things, they have to experience that. You just telling them, well, look at it this way, may not be the answer for them. A lot of people say that in order for them to learn, they need to be hands-on. That means they need to experience it. In order for you to learn, in order for you to change your experience, your perspective, you need to experience the opposite. Experience what it's like to be in that position. And that's what I gathered by being in that position. And I just wanted to share that with you guys because I feel that maybe there are plenty of us that have this warped view of marriage, or maybe a really awesome view of marriage, either one, but we all have a different perspective on marriage. Again, that itself, the word marriage and what it means to people, is different for everybody because we're all different, but we try to lock ourselves in this little square box and we try to put marriage in the same thing and relationships and so forth and so on, but it doesn't have to be that way. Anyway, let me stop ranting about that. But if you had a warped view, or if you had the same judgment that I had, that people just love to play house and nobody wants to get married, and it makes them look a certain way to society if they decide not to get married, whatever. If you had that warped view, just remember that marriage is nothing but a story. It's nothing but a storyline, nothing but a plot. It's nothing but a piece of paper. If that's not how you feel, then again, you are open to have your perspective on marriage. If you take it very seriously, if that piece of paper is very serious, if that commitment is very serious for you, and it's not just a piece of paper, then by all means, you are free to live that way. But in my perspective, I think it's just these things. And although I plan on participating in the event of a wedding and marriage and so forth at some point in my life, I know that I don't need it in order to claim or have the commitment or claim the relationship that I'm in or have the title of wife and husband. And that's all I wanted to share. That's my growth on this perspective from childhood to adulthood. And maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. I don't know. But this is about being honest. And this is my honesty for you. It's been fun. It's been a great little walk. I think I got bit, but it's been a great little walk. So maybe I'll see you guys tomorrow. Maybe I won't. Don't know. But thanks for watching. And if you made it this far in this 18-minute video, I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have an amazing rest of your week. I love you. Bye.